Since August 2022, there have been growing signs that the Iranian Air Force is set to acquire the Russian Su-35 to modernize its fleet. Commander General Hamid Vahidi having announced on September 4 that such acquisitions were under consideration. U.S. officials subsequently indicated on December 9 that Iranian pilots had begun training to operate the aircraft earlier in the year, and that deliveries would begin as early as 2023. Iran is expected to acquire 64 Su-35s under a $5 billion contract, with much of the costs reportedly offset by Russia's expenditures on Iranian drones, which have played a key role in its ongoing war effort against Ukraine and its NATO allies. The apparent choice of the Su-35 follows over a decade of speculation as to what kind of fighter the Iranian Air Force could acquire to modernize its largely Vietnam War-era fleet, while from 2020 the much lighter but more sophisticated Chinese J-10C was seen as a more likely option. A look at the leading competitors to the Su-35 for Iranian contracts and their various advantages and drawbacks is given below. Following are the main competitors of the Su-35 for the Iranian contract, and their various advantages and disadvantages are given. J-10C. The most sophisticated Chinese fighter class yet to be exported, the J-10C was previously seen as the leading candidate to modernize the Iranian fighter fleet and is considered a more advanced aircraft than the Su-35, with significantly lower operational costs and maintenance needs. As a lightweight, relatively inexpensive fighter, the aircraft could be acquired in significantly larger numbers, and other than the American F-35, it is considered the most dangerous single-engine fighter in the world, with its sensors, high composite airframe, option for thrust vectoring, network-centric capabilities, and armaments, all making it stand out against competing designs. FC-31. While China is currently the only country other than the U.S. to field indigenous fifth-generation fighters at squadron-level strength, with the J-20 stealth fighter in many respects being unrivaled in its performance, a lighter medium-weight counterpart to the J-20 was developed under the FC-31 program, both as a navalized derivative for carrier operations and as a fighter for export. The FC-31 is considered a leading contender to replace the F-15 Eagle fleet of Iran's regional rival Saudi Arabia as Riyadh and Beijing strengthen ties, which could be a factor leading both Iran and China to avoid making a deal for the aircraft. The FC-31 was designed as a successor to the Su-27 flanker family of aircraft to which the Su-35 belongs, and introduces stealth capabilities and more advanced sensors, avionics, and weaponry. It is expected to be able to incorporate upgrades for considerably longer, including eventually sixth-generation technologies, as China and the United States have emerged effectively in a league of their own, competing to field advanced sixth-generation fighters. Su-57. The fifth-generation fighter has seen combat over Ukraine and is the only one of its generation to have employed standoff cruise missiles in combat, with an air-to-air kill also reported but unconfirmed. The fighter is not as specialized in an air-to-air role as the Su-35, and benefits from stealth capabilities, albeit inferior to those of Chinese or American jets, as well as an even longer range and use of sextuple radars, improving on the Su-35 triple radars. The fighter's emergence onto export markets was long expected to seriously reduce foreign interest in the Su-30 and Su-35, with the Su-57 expected to remain viable for many decades longer as Russia invests heavily in developing sixth-generation technologies for its fleet. JF-17 Block 3. China's very light fighter developed to be even more affordable than the J-10C, both to acquire and to operate, while benefiting from fifth-generation level avionics comparable to those of the J-20 and J-10C. The JF-17 Block 3 is expected to be produced in far larger numbers than prior variants and provides perhaps the least costly means to field a large fleet with state-of-the-art avionics and weapons.